Here with more Manny Mike Locker Mayhem. Trying to do a triple banger today. Earlier for Paul, I did on my Instagram account a live installation of a ribbon in the Superlux, or as I want to call it, the Superflux. So I got both of those done. I have a buddy Sean. This is Sean's mic. I'm going to be doing this right now. And then tonight, I'm going to be getting hopefully back into one of Paul's mics. He has two vintage Buyer 260s. I'm not sure which one yet, but I'm going to do probably one of them. I have a lot of mics from Paul's, and there's some more coming in. Now that he knows I'm located in California, he's on the search for some cool ribbons, and I'm able to hopefully take care of them and be able to ship them all out in a timely fashion with a lot of re-ribbonings, and I do appreciate Paul's work. So this one, a buddy Sean ordered this, and the way it works is this is what I claim to be a $99 ribbon, unless it's on sale and it's cheaper. You can buy these from Sweetwater, and they're 99 bucks. You get my information first because Sweetwater ships for free to the US only. And it doesn't matter if you live in Canada, Germany, Thailand, you can order them, have it shipped to me for free, and then I'll, in return for $250, upgrade it, change the ribbon, what you're going to see here, and then within the US, I can ship it back to you for free, cover you on insurance on the $99, and then my upgrade is $250, and cover you on insurance on my $250 upgrade. So a total of $350 insured to send this back to you within the US, so you're covered and you're safe. Now, once you get this back in your possession, and I've had this happen a few times, someone accidentally plugs it in the first time and it blows the ribbon because they had phantom power on their preamp. As long as you've started with me and you have all my information and I've gotten that mic done for you, it's $30 to cover the ribbon expenses, and you cover the postage, and I'll return the mic back to you. So I'm trying to do the best I can, make this affordable. You get a lot for your money, and these sound incredible. And this is what it looks like after. Same mic, except I've gone through this, and this is about to be shipped out as well. These are going to San Diego. Give me 1 second, make sure those are safely put back. I've got to make it to the post office. I've been trying. I guess I'm going to try to do that tomorrow morning. Excuse me. Excuse the noise. Hold on now. Hold on now. I'm surrounded by microphones. So this is my buddy Sean's mic, and we're going to be getting started on this. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Someone, right now, I just got online, and they asked me, what do boogers smell like? First comment of the day is, what do boogers smell like? So anyway, this is just brand new out of the box. Give me 1 second, I'll open this outside the camera. These are MXL R144s. I rave about these, and the difference is, even though maybe all mics aren't created equal, a lot of these mics that come from China, the only shortcomings are the ribbons. Great mics, you can't get them built in the United States. Too expensive. So that's why companies now can get these done in China and make them affordable, because you cannot build these in the US anymore. It's way too expensive for the metalworks, and the reason I know is I'm building my own ribbon mic, and I'm trying to get it built all in Southern California. And it's up Alonzo, and it's really expensive. All right, so this is the mic. Just came from Sweetwater. It's completely sealed. Now, one thing I will say about this, it's wrapped up, and that's nice that they're sealing it, but I've been doing these for a few years, and when I used to get these, they weren't sealed. And when I would take them out of here, I'd be like, what the hell? And there was a chemical sunburn on the whole backside, and even the ribbon had faded from shiny to dull. And I believe that this foam that it's packaged in, probably for its safety, so it arrives good, the chemicals in it will erode and corrode the metal. So now I see them and they're completely sealed with that in them. So if you get one of these from me, rip out this foam, put some socks or a Crown Royal or whatever you want to do to pad this up. It's either this one. I'm thinking it's this one. This one's probably okay, but it's this foam. I've noticed that. So now they come completely sealed. That's great. But after you buy it, if this is to sit in here for 3 or 4 months, you may discolor the microphone. Now, I noticed that the foil would get messed up, which makes me think that, I don't know, makes me think that maybe the foil wasn't pure either. I use pure aluminum. So when I talked about mics not being, or actually being created the same, but not really, is that all ribbon mics are basically a magnet and a transformer. And then how that is put together for a design is totally a matter of how the companies made the mics. So these particular mics, I found out by accident, not that I'm some genius. Basically, a buddy of mine had about 12 ribbon mics, Chinese, a bunch of different ones. And it was right when I started doing re-ribbons, and and that was a perfect, perfect starting point were these. So I have a studio. I'm a producer. I've been recording since the late 90s. Steve Albini showed me how to record. And I have ATCs, I got Neves and all this stuff. So I'm testing the mics. I put the new ribbon in. So I tested before and after. I heard it before. I'm like, I know what a good ribbon is. I mean, I've used 160s my whole career recording. 160s, Coles. I mean, I love AEAs. The R88s are fucking insane. I know what a good ribbon sounds like. This is Mike, BM800. What's up, Mike? Yes, ribbons are the best sounding natural sounds. And these work really good with computers. So, by accident, these are cheap mics. I re-ribboned these. I tested them before. I'm like, oh, this one's pretty good. And then after, me and my buddy Earl, who had all these, like 12 different mics, he had Apexes, these, Tone Bones, everything, in 80s, RSM 4s, RSM 5s. I mean, thank God he had a wicked collection of ribbons for me to work on right when I started. And every time I got to this, I was like, what the fuck is going on? This mic sounds incredible. So I didn't think about, telling people about these because I'm just literally making these for myself and my buddy. And then after a while, I had another friend that had heard it, and I just said, well, go to Sweetwater and you can order it and then I'll do them for you. And then after he did it, he had another friend that said, hey, he wants that same thing going on. And then pretty soon, I'm in Los Angeles, so pretty soon all my local buds that have studios are using these. My friend Adam Greenspan, who did Idols and Block Party and Super Sick Bands. He works with Nick Lene, who did Grinder Man and Nick Cave. Nick is even a fan of these too. Like him and Nick have these mics and they've used them whenever they cut records, and they swear by these being one of their favorite guitar mics. So I've gone to Daniel Lavoie's, and Daniel Lavoie's singing one of these, and I'm making a mic for him right now. The singer from Granddaddy, I did a ribbon for him. Stella from Warpaint, the drummer, she has a pair of these. Gus, who's in Roger Waters' band, has some 80s I did. Actually, some great news. I did some Briarwood 60 re-ribbons for Mr. Rubin. He's now the drummer for the Foo Fighters. When he was in Danny Elfman's band in Nine Inch Nails, he came by my studio and brought his 160, which had blown, and I did him, and which I was still thrilled. He's one of the sickest drummers, and to come to find out that just today or yesterday he got in the Foo Fighters, that's awesome to know that I did a ribbon for him. Also, I've done 160s for Justin Medell Johnson, who's in Beck and St. Vincent. So some people ask me, how do we know what these ribbons sound like? All I know is that my first ribbons I made were for like the sickest dudes all around LA. So there's no messing around when I do these ribbons for people. And when you talk about, getting made, you cannot make this in California. As silly as it looks, just like a head basket, you'd have to take a mortgage out on your house. It'd be like $100,000 to machine up to have someone to make dies and everything you would need to make this. And you can get it from China for pennies on the dollar because they're already set up to do it, and that's how they do it. So now we're faced with the reality as most parts and stuff like this, you just have to get it in China. My ribbon mic that I'm designing is going to be made all in Southern California, but it's not necessarily this design. But I will have to come to terms with what I'm going to do when I get close to something like this, how I'm going to make it, because you cannot make this. And there's other ways of doing these head baskets, but I do think this one sounds really good. So I'm going to be upgrading this, and this is an MXL R144. You can buy them for $99 from Sweetwater, but first get my P.O. Box info, and then you go to Sweetwater, order it, put in my info, and then they send it to my P.O. Box for free. My upgrade is $250. And then once I get it delivered to my P.O. Box, if you're in the United States, I mail it back to you for free. I cover the $99 for the mic, and I cover you the $250, the cost of my upgrade. And I can send that back to you within the U.S. and have it fully insured. Now, if you're out of the U.S., you can still buy this microphone, but we'll just have to adjust the shipping. I think it's usually about $60 to $80 to ship it other countries. I've done them all over the world: Canada, Australia, Guam. Guam is still considered the United States, so that went out U.S. Postal Service. And I'm going to try to move this one pretty fast and efficient because I do want to come back tonight. I have to leave to go pick up my wife from work, my mandatory duties. And then I'm going to have dinner and come back and try to get one of my friend Paul's, who sent me a major mic collection. He has some really super beautiful Beyer 260s I'm going to replace the ribbons. And so far with Paul, today on my Instagram, I did his Super Lux, which I call Super Fux. And I just finished the second one today. So I've already, for Paul, I've done 2 of his Reslows, 2 of the Super Luxes. He actually got he's from England, so he got a pair of these. And then he's actually found another mic locally here in LA for me to pick up. Now he's basically loaded me up with a nice box that I'll be having to make to send him back all these microphones. But to take advantage of that, while I have all his mics here, to buy a few of these and maybe add in another one is super smart. It doesn't have to pay for the postage, even me getting these MXLs. So when you get these mics, they're decent. But if you could tell, that ribbon is just, see my finger rub underneath it? That's not good. That means it's just super lax. Now, I blew on it really hard. Holy shit. That this got wasted with me blowing in it. Well, that was quick. That's terrible. That's a terrible ribbon. You could kind of blow it back in shape. So, one of the reasons it did not take this blast good is that the corrugation could be better. And I think they loaded these in without stretching them. And if they do that, the first time it hits a gust of wind, it expands, but doesn't retract back in its original shape. When I corrugate these, and if you look at the videos of Royer and AEA, they're blowing on them and they're stretching them, blowing, and then pretty soon when they lay it in, it's already been kind of maxed out. So when the first time sound pressure hits it, it's going to move and go back to its true form. And that's a lot of my ribbons are basically like a Royer ribbon, resilient, strong. The corrugation is killer. And that's kind of the difference between the men and the boys and the girls and the women of ribbon mics. That ribbon is just malnourished. It's cut. And here's one of the things too. I'll talk about the ribbon. These gaps right here, they vary between 4.9 millimeters up to 5.5 millimeters. And I mean, whether I measure this one, get the next one, they're always moving around. And the reason that is, I believe, and this doesn't happen with Royer, and it doesn't happen with AA, it doesn't happen with Coles, and it doesn't happen with Bayer, it doesn't happen with super serious mic companies, because they have a tolerance of how good they want these mics to be. And let's see, we have a question. It says a lot about the protection cover. Surely must be a very important part. It is, but some of the mics are kind of not always recreated equal. This, which people think is protecting the ribbon, is not. This screen that you see is keeping the ribbon from falling out. So this, as you saw me blow that out, if that was inside and I blow, it's keeping the ribbon in there. If I remove it and blow, now the ribbon's way outside there. So these, like Royers, it will tell you strictly to keep the ribbon within as it gets blown. And the same with Coles. When your Coles ribbon hits the screen, they're ruined, but technically it's keeping it from shredding apart. So basically, Royers and all the other mics, that gap is important. And I think the variable in these, or if these are machined, CC machined, or done by hand, something happens, either the magnets being thicker and smaller, thicker, smaller, whatever the case is, I have to measure every one to put a ribbon in that matches that gap. And let's say I'm going to measure this out. Let's say this is 5 millimeters. Because of the inconsistency, and I'm sure this is just a factory ribbon, they just cut a 4 millimeter ribbon. Probably, I don't know exactly what that thickness is, but if they cut a 4 millimeter ribbon, it's going to fit every gap from 4.9 or 4.90 to 5 millimeters and beyond. So when I get these microphones, even if the ribbon looks decent and it's close to the gap, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I'm almost assuming that they're not going to be measuring every ribbon because it's mass produced. I mean, they send these out like in not literally boatloads, but I guess so. These are boatloads of microphones that are made for the masses, for a lot of people that don't have a lot of money to spend on a $1,500 to $4,500 to $5,500 ribbon mic. So they make these microphones affordable, cheap. But the thing is, all the stuff that's inside this mic is the same stuff inside of a Royer, some of the AEAs. Remember, some of the AEAs look like they're Chinese microphones. They have a full PC board that runs the whole way. 2 magnets are embedded in the PC board. Those are the N22s. They're not made like the N22 does not look like that. It's a PC board that comes all the way to here. The magnets are glued in and they drop a ribbon in. It's kind of genius, but people are becoming more efficient with that. But the metal, the body. Now, here's the thing I will say. All that wiring, it's redundant because it goes to there, then it goes into there. That has a lot to do with why the low end in these is really good. The longer the wiring is before it gets to the transducer, the better. If they would have put the transducer right here and just pigtailed 2 little cables into it, you would not have as much low end. So that's why I'm always impressed with this microphone. It just fucking gets the job done. And there's some samples on my page. If you go back maybe 3 years or 4 years, when I started doing these, I recorded a record where a guy used this on acoustic. My friend Aaron, who recorded Elliott Smith, he uses these. This is his favorite mic for acoustic. So let's see if we can get this done. I'm gonna take this off, and yeah, I can't tell you enough, and I can almost be blue in the face for people to try to get these. Now, for me personally, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing these, because once my mic gets launched, I'm about to have it manufactured and get my prototypes back, hopefully within 2 or 3 weeks. My time, for obvious reasons, is going to be focused in on my own ribbon mic. The reason I've done these, because one, I like doing these, and also because I've strictly only made these mics for producers locally and people that are kind of, even guys that have a lot of money can't afford to buy a pair of Coles for $3,200. You know, this permits you to get. My friend just wrote me today. My friend Steve McClinic has a studio in San Gabriel Valley. He says he doesn't use his R84s anymore. He uses these. This is $99, a $250 upgrade, $350 total, and he's using these instead of his, you know, $1,300, $1,400, maybe used $900 R84s. So that's a big deal. Question here. I heard that it was the BBC design of the Coles. Yeah, I'm not sure, but these minus the ribbon and somewhat of this, these mics just sound fucking good. And I'm trying to get people to get into these. And the reason there was a little bit of a stop in my, you haven't seen a lot of videos of me doing this since last year, was that last year around December, I went online. I said, hey, everyone, I'm doing these upgrades. You should do it, man. Boom. Like 30 mics came in. I was like, oh, this is great. Great Christmas. Let's get this started. And then immediately after that, the building my studio was in was sold within a week. And I was out of a studio, out of a place. And I had all these microphones. And people were really fucking kind to give me a second to relocate. So finally, I got a building in January, and then after rebuilding, and this place was full of dust and filthy, I had everything locked up in Pelican cases. Sometime in February and March and going into April, when my studio here started to open up, I started getting into all these other mics that I had to finish. So I'm fully caught up. They're all out. And I started doing these videos, and now I have a new load of mics in, but it's all doable. So yeah, man, so I'm going to do this for a little bit longer, and just because I care. You know, I love the people that have written me here. Buddy Paul, the guy that's in England, he just sent me a wicked group of mics that I've been doing content on. And Paul has permitted me to still practice my art, practicing technician of doing ribbons, and it's like law and medical. It's a practicing thing. I can't like wake up in the morning and say, oh, you can't make this ribbon and install it without physically getting it, cutting it, and putting it in. So it is a process. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I haven't drank since 2008. So this is a ribbon that it came in. And it looks pretty good. I think they're using better ribbon now. But it's still the problem. It's just not fit. It doesn't fit in there well. And then also the corrugation matters. These are not corrugated like Royers. I'm corrugating mine like a Royer. So yeah, they all crumble the same. Even mine will crumble like this if you get it. But mine will definitely be more resilient. If percentage how much resilient it would be, at least double of what this is, for sure. Because I've been doing it enough, and have a bunch of motherfuckers that would beat me up if they got their mics locally, and they didn't sound killer. So yeah, all these people love these mics. Let's see. Question. The Coles 43 is renowned ribbon. Yeah, Coles are the hardest mics for me to work on, period. And I see, do I have it here? I can't even look at this because I'm afraid to open this, but I'm gonna do it. Let's open it slow. Okay, let's talk low. That 0.6 that you see there, that is the thinnest ribbon on earth. I'm gonna close it because I have moved it and it turned into dust. This ribbon I'm putting in mine is 2.5. Most ribbons of the world are 1.8. Some rare Russian ones are even 8 millimeter, which is just terrible. But the thinnest in the world are Coles. I didn't understand when I first started this what the big deal was. But now that I've grown to do ribbons, a Coles ribbon is the only mic in the world that I say I can't make it sound better than it is, and I don't want to, and it should only sound like the way it was, which means I have to install that super thin ribbon. It took me 2 years with confidence to be able to lock that in now where I can get them done, and they're perfect. 2 years of me learning how to handle that ribbon to put it in, and all of the mics are off. All bets are off. I can make a 160 sound better than it originally was. Every fucking mic. The only mic I don't clean, even if I put a 1.8 or 2.5 in that microphone, Coles do not sound the way they originally do unless you have that ribbon 0.6 installed in it. So it's one of the few mics that I do say, I can't brag to say that I'll make it sound better than it ever was because it sounds fucking godly as is. They just are really fragile. These ones, I can add 3 to 5 dBs of extra sound without doing the transmitter by getting a cut that's really great in there. And then my corrugation will add mids and highs with a tight low end, and that's what I do. I can get that out of a ribbon. So every mic I do gets up the ante, and it's like if I drop this mic off at Royer, and I said, hey, do me a favor, whatever the Royer guy is, say Tom or Sally, whoever does the ribbons, if they cut me a ribbon and cut it to match this and install it, that's what I do. So you get years and years of understanding about ribbon technology. And now I've realized that it's almost the mic matters to some point. The head basket, that's why I like lollipop mics, like this mic right here. I know I said this the other day, but I have this one for sale. It's a Cascade, the best lollipops you can buy. And I've already done it. This one is 600. Once again, if you just write me on my contact information, I'll send this to you insured for 600, and I'll send it to you within the United States. If you're not in the US, we'll figure out shipping. It's usually 60 to 80 bucks extra. But when I would do these videos a while ago, I always said, if this is 100 bucks and you pay me 250, now you got 350 for a ribbon. And some would say, well, that's a lot of money. I could buy a fathead for 350 or 400, which is true. But the fatheads still had a ribbon that was exactly like a Chinese ribbon. They suck. I mean that in the most disrespectful way. They're just terribly installed. They're not high quality ribbon. And they're usually, when I look at them, they get wasted really quick. But they have a good transformer and they're built well and they're incredible, sturdy. And that head basket is fucking genius. So yeah, these have all the potential for sounding even better. So that's why it's 6. Because to get this mic initially, even with the Chinese ribbon in it, you're still going to pay between $300 and $450 for these. That one is not going to last long, maybe a day or so, but definitely hit me back if you're interested. Back to this one. This is Sean's, and I'm going to try to get this done. Give me 1 second. Don't disappear. I'll be back right now. I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to text my wife really quick. Holy moly. Get a quick drink of my Topo Chico. And like the Topo Chico whore and Pellegrino whore I am, and coffee whore, you can always help me out by buying me a coffee. Below the description, there's a thank you icon. You can put any amount you want in there, but let's just be realistic. If you're my bud and let's hang out and you say, Manny, I'll buy you a coffee, that's all you're doing for me. It helps me out at the end of the day But my main goal is to see if anybody is interested in these mics while I'm doing them. And I do think it makes a difference. I have produce all over LA that are using these microphones in the place of their Coles and their art. If you have a punk band come in and you don't want to take out your Coles, you could definitely switch them out with these if you're worried about them getting damaged or falling. I just had a spree of about 6 Cole mics that came in. So if you watch some previous videos, you can see me doing those, and I'm talking about shit about how much they're such a son of a bitch to do. Let me ask you some questions here. Yeah, Joey, what's up, Joey? I'm doing it. I'm at it again. Okay, let's see. Have you thought about getting into designing a mic pre? I'll be honest with you, man. I have some of the greatest mic pre's on earth. I have Cytex. I have Wally Hyder APIs. I have some old BAEs. I use the Vetus preamps, MA5s, and Vetus, one of the best in the US. Even Bill Skibby, Flickinger's, Electro Audio has a new preamp. Man, there's companies that are just making smoking preamps. I don't think there's anything I could design that would be any better than what you could find right now. That's you as a consumer. You're really lucky this is your era. When I started, zero chances of going. There was no Vintage Kings. There's no Sweetwaters. There was nothing. You had to like. There was a place in Los Angeles called the Recording Outlet. It was in the 90s. You'd walk in there and it was just full of consoles and tape machines and microphones, and that was your only outlet, and it was a lot of money. Now, I mean, you go Craigslist, eBay, all that stuff, man. There was nothing you could do if you wanted to get vintage gear except paying out of your you know what. So I'm cleaning the ribbon here because I don't want, I mean the gap, because I don't want any little metal. Sometimes there's little particles that will fly into the ribbon. And I'll just kind of do this side because this is where I'm going to retape it, and I want it to be clean. Okie dokie. So let's measure the gap in this. Let's see what we got. You know, I always do this, and it's like the magnet is just drawing my gauge into it. So let's figure it out. I'm going to make a guess. 510, 520. 5 millimeters. So 5.10 or 5.20. I haven't measured it, but we'll see. I could be completely wrong. So let's just see what we got. 0. Putting this within the mouth of a fucking lion. The magnets are just screaming, stick to me. I don't know if it's a magnet or the battery just screws with this. 523. Close. Let me do the top. Let me do this again. So I'm gonna outside the magnet. Oh man, these magnet is just so strong. If I had my razor blade in my hand, I've cut my tip of my thumb off by these motherfuckers. So I'm not getting it right. Hold on. Just for daddy right now. Let's just get this right. I doing wrong here? It's more than 5.5, is that right? Holy cows. Watch this. It's like, yeah. Okay, let's do this right. Come on, motherfuckers. Difference. Hold on. 530? Well, it looks like there's about 540 would be the average, which is massive. Sean, I guess you got the lotto. It's a pretty big size, and I can't control that. So, 540 is a gap. What is your take on changing the internal cables of the mic? I don't know what your deal is, but apparently you're reading my mind. When I first started, I have massive amounts of pure silver wiring. I used to do early mods and use very expensive silver wiring because one of my friends is one of the killerest boutique mic preamp compressor company. He only uses pure silver wiring. So I started to make these with pure silver, but it's just so time consuming to do it, but they do sound different. I think they sound a little bit better. But I can't justify someone to give me an extra $100 to use pure silver wiring on a microphone. And I just decided to kind of cut my loss and say, hey, $99, you don't have to buy a transformer. I'll give you 3 to 5 more dBs out of this, and it's going to sound killer. That to me is way more practical for the people that are buying these mics. But I did make these for my friend Dimitri in Hawaii. He has a studio called the Rainforest Room. I believe he has 1 or 2 of my silver wiring, and that's crazy. I mean, it's pure silver, super heavy gauge. They're insane. But like I said, I just don't do it because then I would be telling you guys, hey, it's $350 for this silver. And, you know, some people just don't care. It's like, hey, dude, I just want a mic that works. Silver, Schnilver, Wilver, who cares? So, yeah, man, that's funny that you mentioned it. I do think it sounds better. But even though these come with Mogami, these have Mogami wiring in it. So the wiring's already good. So you got Mogami wiring, which is already a better caliber. And to me, I'll just leave it at that. But thanks for asking that question. That's a good question. Okay, let me do the quick math on this. Hold on. So out of 540, I'm going to subtract about 0.15 on each side of the ribbon. And that'll be my subtraction of the ribbon from 540. Calibrate this right now. Thank you. Yeah, that was a good question. No one's ever asked me that. But because I've been doing these for about 4 years before I make my own mic, I wanted to learn as much as I can. And I did find out that the cabling does matter. But I don't have it. I got to make sure that when I built these, I don't have an endless supply of pure silver cabling. I have enough to make maybe 100 mics. But I would not want people to go, oh, as soon as the day I run out, and they're like, oh, by the way, we're using Mogami. Like, what the fuck's up with the silver cabling? Well, guess what? We ran out. And that is always the dilemma of all the people that make these vintage compressors and stuff. If you don't have enough tubes in those to last 5, 6, 7 years, 10 years of production, you should not use the vintage stuff because you're going to run out and it's going to affect the sound quality of your gear. So that's why a lot of new companies, they will only use new gear and not go on the hunt for vintage gear, you know, because it's just not going to work. So we're going to cut, this is 5 inches and this is 2. We're going to go within the 5 inches of this to make sure that I have enough wiggle room to install the ribbon. Holy cows. Can't believe I'm doing this again. So this is my second mic of the day. And like I said, tonight, oh my God, I'm going to do buyers, which are as difficult sometimes as Coles. Maybe not as difficult as the Reslos I did. Reslos are a son of a bitch, man. A lot of these mics that were made a long time ago, and then you get a mic that was made like this, it just took a lot of time to work on doing things more efficient and honestly cheaper. And then that ended up working good. I totally can work on these most of my sleep because they're just easier to work on. The taking apart the parts, even if I have to do measuring every mic and it's a little bit inconsistent with that, technically the art of opening it, working on it, replacing the ribbon remains the same. When you get into Kohl's and Buyers and even Reslo's, it's like, okay, if I'm having a bad day, that's not the day you're going to work on that mic. Because it's super, super technical. And you have to be on your game because when you install the ribbons, if, like for a buyer, there's 2 ribbons in a buyer laying on top of each other. If I screw up on the top or the bottom ribbon, you got to do them again. So I have to make sure I've got like either I've gone out to have sushi or I went to Nick's Cafe and had a great breakfast with coffee. And I've got to be accepting of the frustrations of if it didn't go in. Like if I put in 2 ribbons and I seal it up and I'm like, this looks fucking great. And then you go test it and it sounds like an AM radio, you got to fucking do it again. I can't mail out one mic without testing it because even though every time I test it, to the most part, 99% of the times I can kill it without going out that way. But in Buyers and in Kohl's, I had to just do a Kohl's 2 times because I did it. It looked good. But when I went to check it against another one, the low end wasn't exactly right. Even though it was fine, it was acceptable. No one had ever noticed. I have ATCs. And it just did not sound right to me. So even though the guy was like, hey, I'm ready to pick it up, and I told him it was ready, I said, you're going to have to hold tight. I've got to re-ribbon this. And he was cool. He liked that I took the time, and I did. And it was a son of a bitch to do it again. But I got the low end right. And that, to me, is why I'm not a Chinese company. I'm not making a massive amount. I'm basically making a custom ribbon, in some ways, a microphone for you every time you get one. And that's just because, oh man, this paper's always a nightmare. Hold on a second. Holy cows. Hold on a second. I want my brain together. When you rip the paper from the, after I've cut it and the foil's in the paper, it's really difficult sometimes to get the paper separated. Give me a second. Oh, I gotta get this right. And I tell you, man, I don't know what, it's just like, oh, fuck. Hold on. Ah. But yeah, so it's like, every time I do a mic, my method of testing the mic, if you're doing big, long ribbons, I have all the test tones and stuff that you can put the little clips on it. You can run tones to it. I think Royer tests those are like 440 and AEA tests them as low as like 19 hertz or something like that. There's all kinds of ways you can test the mic. I test the mic, honestly, with my voice. Whenever I've checked mics and I'm like, check, I'm gonna be like, check 1 2 3, check 1 2 3, hey, how low can you go? How low can you go? Check 1 2 3, check, and you do all the frequencies. The human voice is a son of a bitch. And if I can hear it and I go, oh, that's fucking great, really quick, I could tell if a ribbon's too dark, not dark enough, it needs some high end, or it's just not good. So most of the time, and also on my Pro Tools session, I have probably 200-300 samples of the best Coles, the best 160s, the best 44s, 74s, RCA lipsticks, or paintbrushes, I'm sorry. I've got 251s, Telefunkins, all kinds of stuff that I use to test the ribbon mics as examples. I have a bunch of 160s, 260s, 500s, and I can go to any one of my references and be like, oh yeah, that sounds fucking good. And I'll just grab the file and I'll run it against the one I'm doing. And then I'll be like, oh shit, that sounds great. So a lot of it is that, and it's personal. I'm basically, you're trusting me to use my own judgment on a ribbon tuning. And because I started out only making these for all the guys that are locally in Los Angeles that are producers, and I'll be honest with you, some of them aren't that nice. Nothing against my homies. They're kind of dicks. So when I started saying, oh, I can make this ribbon sound great, give it to me, and I'd make their 160 sound better, that blew their minds. And that's how I win their trust, and that's how I win in getting credibility of being able to go over Daniel Lanois' house and have him sing into your mics. That just doesn't happen. It's like, All right, so let me just, I'm corrugating this right now. Everybody be quiet. And like I said, my corrugating is one you can buy anywhere, except I built these two. That's why they're a little bit different. I went and found them. There's a place called Apex, and I took a bunch of, I had a whole bag full of these cogs, whatever, for corrugating. And I grinded them out, and these ones are the ones that came with that were standard. I just thought they were too deep, and these ones aren't. And I wanted to make mine kind of like Royers. So they're basically plastic versions of what I would think the Royer corrugator would be about. And that started me. And then once I did it, I was like, home run. These sound fucking sick. So that is kind of my starting point. Joe Wheat. Man, thank you for tuning in, Joey. I always appreciate it. So once I get done with the ribbon mic, I've got to stretch the ribbon. This is the scary part because you could rip it in half. And the only reason I learned how to do that, when I looked at Roy or when they were making their ribbons, they would stretch them. And for me, when I first started, I was like, what? And they're like, ribbons are like falling apart in my hands. I'm like, how are they going to stretch it without ripping it in half? Well, when you learn how to corrugate and you learn how to make the ribbon stronger and better, you can get away with that. If I took this out of the paper and had to do the same thing, it would rip in half. So you just got to like trust in yourself. I know. And be careful. You're right, M. Johnson. This is the part. It is scary. Even when I had to do this, I'm like, don't fucking break the ribbon. Hold on. Oh, my God. Oy vey. Okay. I can feel it. I'm lifting the bottom ribbon. Hold on. That's what. Fucking shit. That's what it means. You see, when I say hoochie poochie, that's me trying. My wife gets so mad at me when she can't even watch these. She's like, why are you cussing so much? I go, because I cuss fucking all the time. Exactly just like that. Okay. Whew. Time to load it in. I've got to bail out to go pick up my wife. I've already let her know I'm running late like every fucking day. But this is important to me. Here it comes. And like I said, you can buy me a coffee. If you really want to do me a favor, get one of these so I can get them to you. You can say you have them. They're not going to be around for a long time. I really love doing these. And they're 99 bucks. You can get my information in the description, my P.O. box. And then I would order a pair. And they're fucking incredible. And like I said, if you blow them, once you've already bought them from me, I will always do you up, and I will repair the ribbons for 30 bucks. Doesn't matter when you got them from me. Even when I start my new company, if you write me and you're like, Manny, I blew my, my R134, and I look up your email and you're like Shannon or Joey or someone, I'll be like, fuck yeah, send me $30, cover shipping, and you got it. You got it, man. Ooh. But let's see if I can get this one first. This is the part that's like, you're gonna fuck up this ribbon. See, what I don't like is that this is just annoying me. Oh man, hold on. Ah, come on, motherfucker. Hold. You got it. You got it, man. You got it. Oh, fucking shit. My schnizzle, my nizzle. Okay. Oh. See? My Q-tip's going bad, and that's the first sign. God. I gotta use another Q-tip. I just did a ribbon mic, and I didn't change it out. When you don't change out your Q-tip, for whatever reason, it just grabs the ribbon and fucks up your day. Not totally. I'm okay. I'm actually having a good day, but right now, I want to have a better day, and I want to knock this out one and done. Not, oh, why are you sticking to me? I want this to be killer. Motherfucking killer. Motherfucking killer. Okay. That's a little crooked, but give me a second. I'll get it right. Now, one side I'm attention more than the other, but I'm not going to worry about it right now because right now I'm more worried about getting this one straight, and then I could retension it once I have it locked in. So I got to let the alcohol dry for a second. That looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. My Topo Chico. And you can tell even my corrugation compared to the one that it came in is way better. That's how Roy's are. You have more information, more cuts, more lines. That's all mids and highs and detail. And this is durable as fuck. Put it on a guitar cabinet. Maybe use a pop filter, maybe not, but I know a lot of people that use these on guitars and love them. I think the alcohol's dried enough. Let me make sure it's straight. I'm gonna check it in the light. Yep. Let's get the business here. Can't talk. Scalpel. There's to the patient some more pimples. He's squirming around. We don't want this motherfucker to wake up while I'm operating on him. Now I don't want to put this down all the way because I may have to move it. If I lock that tight and I got to move that side, it's going to rip the ribbon. So you just got to take your time, be patient, and don't talk because the ribbon's like fucking blowing while I'm doing this. Good. Block the ribbon from having the screwdriver go through it. Now this one I'm going to go tight till it just stops. Not so tight because I don't want to bow the plastic. just a little plastic bracket. I don't want it to bow because then it won't hold the ribbon down. So I'm going to tighten it, not like kind of like a snare drum. And the lugs, I'm just tightening at one side. Okay, that's tight. And go back to the other side. So it's even tightness on it. Fuck. Tight. Use my finger to add tension away from the ribbon. Tight. If I got a torque wrench out, you'd be in trouble. Okay, that's good. Now that that one's secure, I can then worry about this one. So this one, I'm going to get a little bit straighter. Let me check it in. Let me see. I'm going to tighten this one. I'm putting it down because I want the ribbon, I don't want the alcohol to drip into the magnets. I'm just going to tighten this one a little bit. Good. Now I have to get in the middle. It's crooked. Hold on. God. Perfect. I really like that. I like the tension. Look at how beautiful that looks. That's insane. I love it. Sean, you're going to be a happy man. Your daughter, Sean. I'm saying Sean's a man. What if it was like, you know, one of those situations? Let's be politically correct, and I'm just going to shut the fuck up. Man. Once again, I'm going to put this one in tight, but not all the way because I just want to be able to move it around. On this one, the other one once it gets torqued, okay, and torque it a bit on this one, keeping my finger pushing away from the magnets with the screwdriver. Now, double check these guys, make sure they're tight. Put the light on, make sure see what I'm doing here. I got this around the ribbon. Don't fucking slip. Holy cows. Now this is a scary point. I've got to rip this little piece off. If I'm wrong in my calibration of this being tight enough, I did this yesterday. I went to just pull that and that whole thing just got screwed up. So let's just rip it. So this is the ribbon I use. Really, really nice. The other ones, it just goes into that thing. Pixie dust. Holy smokes. Okay, we're gonna leave it at this. I need to go pick up my wife now. My biggest goal was to get this done. One and done. I did it. I'm gonna go live again. Maybe tonight, about 7, 8, 9 p.m. latest Pacific Standard Time. and I'll finish this off so you can see me put the tape back on it and load this up. But tonight I'm pretty positive I'm going to be working with a Buyer Vintage 260 from the 60s. Once again, these are MXL R144s, Sweetwater, brand new, 99 bucks. Hit me up in my information, get my email. Let's talk. I'll give you my P.O. box. You order this for 99 bucks. Get a pair if you can. They send it to me for free. My fee is $250 a mic, and then I insure it back to you for each mod that you do, either one or two, and then I'll insure it for the microphone, 100 bucks a piece, and I'll ship it back to you. And also, if you have any nadies, RSM4s, RSM5s, PV had some cascades that were just labeled PV, but they were cascades. The other one is I'm selling this cascade. If anybody's interested in it, it's already been done. You don't have to look for it or find it. It's the original cascade that I've done well, you saw me do this, and these are goddamn fucking incredible because of the head basket being so big, and it's different. This is for up on the grill. A lot of sound can travel around the ribbon. A great mic. This one is 600 bucks, but it's already done. You don't need to find it. You just get it, and it's worth it. I'll cover the shipping and the insurance, fully covering the microphone. I'll send it to you. And like the other mics, if you ever blow this mic, it's only 30 bucks for the ribbon and pay for postage, which is usually about 14 to 20 bucks. And forever, you can just use this however you want it. So, hoopla, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot. And this is just always a work in progress of making cool ribbons. This came out great. I mean, that's a good cut ribbon. That's the difference from when you buy this to when you leave with it. That is exactly what a Royer ribbon would look like inside, or an AEA N22, or an AEA, not really an R84, it's a different type of mic, but more of an N22. Okie dokie. Everybody, please take care of yourself. Thank you. Oh, and if you want to buy me a coffee, hit the thanks and you can get me a Topo Chico. Come on now. I'm working for coffees. I'm working for peanuts. Help a man.